React lore time. Let's see what this is about. New Teemo lore, and you all know I am the Teemo master. I'm going to put on my hat for this. Let's see what we have to learn about Teemo.
Among the constant barrage of news, which may include the revival of our childhood band, the fact that Riot wants to do 3 seasons per year instead of 1, or the fact that Wild Rift might get a canon minigame for Arcane, well, now we also got another whole new surprise. We learned that together with Teemo's ASU, we are also getting his lore updated. And since this update also includes his audio, of course he's getting new voice lines, so we have to cover those too.
Wait. He's not going to go
For the Scouts code. Up, 2, 3, 4.
He's not going to do that anymore? I'll riot. I'll go to the streets with a sign.
And the best thing of all of it is live right now. Or at least, the story is up on Universe. The visual update is still on PBE. So, even though these days it only happens a couple of times a year, let's dive into some new lore that arrived in the universe of League of Legends. But before we do that, we quickly have to mention some other important details that were also brought up. First of all, with these story changes, Teemo also suffered from a big loss. And I'm not talking about his memory loss, even though, funnily enough, that is part of his story now.
Wait, Teemo has memory loss? I wasn't aware of this. I know he has PTSD from when he was in war. from the skin I use, but that's about it.
Now I'm talking about the fact that Captain Teemo is no longer a captain. Yes, I know that this is actually a horrifying piece of news, but on Reddit, the team behind Teemo's ASU did an AMA, and there they answered quite a bit of questions, some of which might even be spicy. Now thank
you to the Teemo Tristana. Question a little bit. Always and always will be a central and important figure in Teemo's story in his life, and vice versa. Romantic is ambiguous. Now, Teemo should not be a romantic character. Forget about that.
Thankfully, as always, you don't have to dig through all of those yourselves. All you have to do is follow SpiderX on Twitter, and they always collect it all up. And here we learned that the team tried to make the Yordles feel less like a military.
Boo! Boo! What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean less military?
Which, you know, if you know anything about the Yordle lore, yeah, that makes sense. They are not supposed to be a deadly force, quite the opposite. And
listen, Teemo is a deadly force. One mushroom can take out a city. Okay, that sounds kind of wrong. That's not the kind of mushroom I was talking about. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Mushrooms are poisonous. You get them into the water supply and you can take out a city that way, okay?
Captain was always a title used for a military unit. And since the Bandle Scouts were not really intended to be that, the title Captain was scrapped. So rest in peace, our favorite voice line.
Captain Teemo on duty.
Also, the team pointed out one more thing. While Teemo's original lore...
As a Japanese person, you still love him even after his war crimes? I mean...
Or gave him a bit of a darker side. By which I mean that it was hinting at the fact that Teemo might be a master killer utilizing his scouting abilities. That was a pretty old version of his lore. And it didn't really fit with his design.
Boo! Give me that! Wait, that's what I want. Move away from Teemo's dark, murderous side, so I would like to give a little more clarity on the decision-making process about that. When we looked at his lore, it was important to us to re-examine all the context between why that was an element of him in the first place, so we could be intentional about what we kept and what we wanted to move away from. Things like Teemo secretly suffering heavily from PTSD and expressing that violently both felt a little out of place on such a light-hearted... Get out of here, bro! Stop taking depth away from my characters. And also disrespectful to real people who suffer from post-war bullshit. All right, this is... I rarely dislike Riot's takes on things, but this is absolute bullshit. What, so now you can't have characters with PTSD because that's disrespectful to people who have PTSD? What's next? You can't have short people because it's disrespectful to short people? What, you can't have, I don't know, disabled people in games or movies or... What is this? What is this BS, dude? A character in a video game can't suffer from PTSD because it's disrespectful to people who have PTSD. What a trash take. Let me continue just to make sure I'm not misrepresenting it. A condition already has so much stigma attached that they have to work hard to fight against the pop culture depictions. That wasn't a story we are equipped to responsibly and earnestly tell with Teemo. Get out of here. It's over, chat. It's over. Can't have bold people because, yep. Yep. Yeah, let's just take all depth out of all characters. Awesome. Great. We're canceling Jinx from Arcane because she has schizophrenia, which is disrespectful. Yeah, exactly. Well played, sir. Yeah, what about Jinx? What about the schizo Jinx who hears voices and is literally nutso? What about her? The problem is that he expressed that PTSD violently. Are you saying there's no people out there that have PTSD who express it violently? There are. What is this? We got to cover our eyes with little blindfolds and pretend like people suffer from PTSD in different ways. Some get very depressed. Some can get violent. Like it has different manifestations, just like anything. What are we talking about here? We're just going to pretend the world isn't how it is? It's just like schizophrenia. Some people are schizophrenic and they're not violent at all. Others are very violent, kill people. Like, you're smart enough to figure that out by yourself. You know what I'm saying, Butt Shaper. It's a cop-out. This is a bad take. Anyway.
A master killer utilizing his scouting abilities? That was a pretty old version of his lore. And it didn't really fit with his design, nor the characteristics of Yordles. However, the team knew that some people still liked this dark twist that Teemo had.
Obviously.
Which is why the story of the Omega Squad Teemo remained the same. There, he still stays as a deadly assassin. But that's enough for the setup. So now, let's dive into what changed in Teemo's lore. And I think we can all assume it's definitely gonna resolve around his delicious mushrooms. Those delicious. This video is sponsored by HelloFresh. Hunger, the driver of all things, can be swept under the rug with the help of HelloFresh.
I've seen a lot of people doing this
HelloFresh
HelloFresh
delivering
stuff
fresh
lately.
ingredients for your meals right to your
Am I
doorstep.
the only person who sees this a lot?
You too can cross this primal urge from your checklist. To land right on your needs, each week you can customize your delivery and mix and match whatever fits your lifestyle. Or just your mood at the time. And it is in your power to choose where and when it will be delivered. Which also includes the option to skip a week if you are traveling. Of course, all of these meals can start at the very beginning with breakfast. After all, it is said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I know as a fact that you are skipping it. Besides that, of course, you can dive into the massive menu of over 50 different options. And while your subscription is active, you get one breakfast item for free. And best of all, these meals include pre-portioned ingredients, which makes the entire cooking process incredibly simple. Not to mention that, of course, it is
I'll be
also
honest, like, this is a
lot
useful
faster.
product, though.
From personal
Like,
experience, I
it
can tell
teaches
you
you how to
that
cook.
people might know that I'm not
One of the
best
hardest parts
chef,
about cooking is
but
like
with
measuring
HelloFresh, that is an issue
quantities,
of the
knowing what
past,
to
and
put
I
in,
too
what
can make a
ingredients,
meal
looking
that
for
is not
recipes.
entirely burned and is actually edible.
a good way to learn how
And
to
you
cook. I can see
too
it.
can become such a great cook
tried
by
it.
joining
Meal sizes are
HelloFresh.
for a
So click the
kindergartner,
link in the
and the
description
recipes
or
are
use
crap.
my code to get 10 free meals and free
You don't
breakfast
need to
for
order to
life.
see their menu.
That is one breakfast item per box while the subscription is active if you are in the US. Outside of the US,
You
the
had it for a
local
few months,
discount will
first 2 months,
apply.
they
So
was
once
okay,
again,
but
many
afterwards the
thanks to
quality took a
HelloFresh for
nosedive.
sponsoring this video. And now, back to the pixels of a fantasy universe.
Alright.
On my honor as a scout, I will strive to help every living thing thrive, to be a friend to all in need, to seek out every rock and tree, to be honest and kind and brave and true. I try my best in all I do, to meet every challenge with courage and wit, and to leave the world better than I found it. So I pledge to uphold the Bandle Scout way, and serve the Yordle kind each and every day.
Okay.
The
Alright.
Bandle Scout Oath. And here we can already pause to mention something interesting. So as you can see, the Bandle Scouts are still intact. They were unchanged. And they are still following the Scouts Code. But we actually got a bit more clarification on what the Scouts Code is. So, the Scouts Code is a set of guidelines that define the philosophy of the Bandle Scouts. But what's funny here is that this is a set of made-up rules. And it is constantly growing as Teemo is adding in new rules. So now it is nearly impossible
I respect that. If I had a grappler code, it would be the same thing. It would be a list I make that I modify at a given whim.
to just make a complete list of all the rules. Just
Fantastic.
keep that in mind as we keep going.
Okay.
Teemo has been a Bandle Scout for as long as he can remember, hopping through portals all across Runeterra in order to find people in need. Badge 131, help a stranger. To befriend new creatures. Badge 389, adopt a pet. or even to document strange new species of mushrooms, batch 248, fungology expert. For Teemo, there was no greater joy than spending his days seeking adventure and earning Bandle Scout badges, which was how he became the most decorated Bandle Scout the world had ever seen. Which is where we get a mention of the first proper Bandle Scout rule. Bandle Scout Rule 154, Never Fear the Unknown. When other Yordles saw what Teemo had accomplished, his dedication and enthusiasm inspired them to become Bandle Scouts. What began as a single scout with a dream grew and grew, until Teemo was handing out badges to intrepid young cadets, and writing new copies of the Bandle Scout rules for their journeys across Runeterra. Rules which he had luckily memorized, since his original handbook was lost somewhere in the waters south of the Serpent Isles while he was learning to tie sailing knots.
Wait a second. I thought he had a bad memory.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a setup. The fact that Teemo's original handbook was lost somewhere around Bilgewater might come up later. Maybe Riot will use it to set up a future Yordle champion. Or maybe it's gonna be used as a setup for a new champion from Bilgewater who just happens to follow the Scout's code. Or it is possible that the handbook was just destroyed and it is used as a setup for the fact that Teemo now has to make up new rules. So, this is most likely mentioned here to add up a bit of spice to Teemo's lore, while also keeping the windows open for any potential future setups. Anyway, Bandle Scout Rule 13. Every day is an adventure, make sure you are prepared. When one cadet surveyed Yordles across Runeterra regarding Bandle Scout contributions, batch 567, market research, the feedback was unanimous. Under Teemo's fearless leadership, the Bandle Scouts were beloved the world over. Which is where we get some quotes from some known Yordles who encountered the Scouts in the past. Teemo is so cool. One time I saw him stop raging stampede of wild horses. It was awesome. Ava, Bandle Scout.
What a liar. This is the kind of friends you need to have in your life, chat. You know? You know? You ever see me like, if I ever do IRL content, you see me talking to a cute girl, you got to put like on text-to-speech. Yo, Grappler, thanks for that Ferrari you bought me and my sister. You know? Stuff like that. You gotta hype me up. That's the kind of friend we all want in our lives.
The Bandle Scouts have grown a lot. They put on this great big festival a while ago. Had floats and everything. It was pretty neat. They even let me set off some fireworks.
Lie.
Tristana, the Bandle Gunner.
I'm sorry, I don't see Teemo stopping a stampede of charging horses. She doesn't even know how to lie. Maybe she has memory issues as well.
This might actually be a reference to the Bandletale game. For those of you who don't know, this is just a game about throwing parties and festivals for all the Yordles.
I really wanted to like this game, bro. I tried streaming it. I died of boredom. I'm sorry. This game killed me. I could not play it.
Which includes potential fireworks, and that also includes Tristana. I love those rascals with their missions and badges and adventurer's moxie. It brings a happy tear to this old pilot's eye. Corky, the daring bombardier. What the f is a Bandle Scout? Glad, High Major Commodore of the 1st Legion 3rd Multiplication Double Admiral Artillery Vanguard Company.
Okay.
So yes, Glad is still roaming around Noxus having no idea what's happening in Bandle City. Which is where Teemo's story concludes. Teemo even introduced the world to Bandle Scout biscuits, now carried by scouts all across Runeterra.
Wait, Bandle Scout biscuits? Oh, so there's different kinds. You have Poro snacks. Okay, that's a flavor.
Inventory includes over 100 exciting and unique flavors, such as Poro snacks, old cheese, honey fruit, meat, limited edition Spirit Blossom. Get it? Because Spirit Blossom is that one event in Ionia that canonically happens only once a year. Bilgewater Rat, Halian Puff Pastry, permanently retired. Get it? Because Helia is that one city on the Blessed Isles that blew up and turned into the Shadow Isles. Shuriman Sand, and many, many more. Nowadays, Teemo is focusing on completing Bandle Scout missions of his own design. His most recent achievements are propagating the near-extinct species of exploding mushrooms. Of course, we know those as puffcaps. And freeing all the cute basilisks in the Noxian war camp, who looked so very sad inside their stables. He's also researching the origins of the Bandle Scouts. Who founded it? Made the first badge? Penned the first rule? And could it have been Teemo himself in a time long lost to his memories? He can't remember. But no matter the mission, one thing remains constant, which is Teemo's dedication to live by the words of the Scout's oath, to uphold the Bandle Scout way and serve Yordle kind each and every day.
How old is Teemo? Do you guys know? Does he have an age?
So here, we got one last twist. Teemo is old. We don't really get any specifics or even comparisons to other Yordles, but this might become a surprise to a lot of people. I mean, all Yordles are old by the definition of them technically being just modes of magic. But in Teemo's case, he is so old he doesn't remember how his adventures started. In many ways,
Interesting.
he is somehow similar to Vladimir. Also, his mushrooms were...
Wait. He's similar to Vladimir? I have that. I have an art of that, chat. I have art of Vladimir riding on top of Teemo that I have drawn myself. For those who have never seen it, prepare yourselves for something beautiful. Are you ready? So, he's similar to Vlad, they say. All right. Well, here it is. A picture of Vladimir riding on top of Teemo. There it is. That's right. Vladimir riding Teemo. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. There it is. Not what you expected, but exactly what you expected. Are those avocados? These are papayas, bro. What do you mean? It's a papaya tree. And in case you're wondering who drew this masterpiece, it's right there. Signed by the artist. Look at that. Look at that. I got the mushrooms as well. Wrong Vladimir, brother? Details.
are mentioned here at the end, with his goal being to preserve this near-extinct kind of mushrooms. Which is why, in-game, you are technically just running around and planting them in their new environment. And it just so happens to be that the enemies are stepping on them and explode. Also, the fact that he is likely buying them from Piltover still seems to be true. That part wasn't retconned, so it seems like he is buying them from the drug dealers,
Nice.
totally oblivious to what Piltovans are doing with these mushrooms, just to save them. In fact, even in the AMA, it was confirmed that the main direction of Teemo's new lore is that he is oblivious to all the chaos that he is causing. And that actually reflects in his voice lines in a really clever way. It almost feels like he is senile. And it's hilarious. For example, here's the first line.
A puppy! Aw, who wants a treat? I've got Bandle Scout biscuits.
This is an obvious reference to the massive list of biscuits we got in his bio.
Whoa, is that the puppy? I've never seen a hero up close before.
He also has a lot of playful interactions with the other Yordles. Nothing special to really mention here.
How's the mech, Rumble? Did you fix the random exploding yet?
Which is followed by this.
You look like my pet Fluffy. He was a soul-devouring sea worm.
So here we learned that Teemo canonically...
Legend of Runeterra had such good voice lines. It's one of the best things they did, the card interactions. I didn't appreciate them enough because I didn't really know the lore of League of Legends, but they were very, very good.
had
A lot of thought went into them.
soul-devouring sea worm as a pet. The word had being very important because it also continues.
Yeah, I had to let Fluffy go too.
Yes, that's right. Teemo likely had to put Fluffy down.
I'm guessing this is Fluffy, maybe? In the picture?
Or he just released him back where he found him. Though it would be hilarious if that worm is what we could see in his splash art. If that is the soul-devouring sea worm, even though it is kinda tiny, then yes, he put him down. After which we also get a confirmation for his senile side.
Whoopsie daisy. Oops, did I do that? Was that too much?
Yes, every time Teemo kills someone with his mushroom, he kinda shrugs it off as an accident. And things get even funnier
That's great,
when
dude.
they die when they are far away.
Did anyone else hear that? Nope. Okay.
And yes, the Scouts biscuits are definitely becoming a returning joke.
Have you considered carrying Bandle Scout biscuits? We have over 100 flavors.
Chat, it's not dementia. Look, I have met people like this IRL, and as long as they're charismatic, it can even be funny. So what Teemo does is, he has an internal picture of himself as the good guy. And whenever he catches himself doing something that doesn't fit with the internal picture of himself, he shrugs it off. And then he forgets about it. You know? You know people like this. Type 1 if you've met people like this in real life. I'm sure many of you have. You know? They expect certain things of themselves. And if they don't meet those expectations, you know, they play oblivious. Or not only that, sometimes they will go against exactly what they present themselves to be. And then afterwards, they'll just shrug it off. Like, if it's convenient to do something out of their character, because it's easy, they do it. And then afterwards, like, well, I did it, I guess. That's no longer me. Old people, probably. It's not just old people. I've met some younger people like that, too.
It is kind of like Jax and eggs.
Never underestimate the power of the Scout Code.
Yes, you heard it right. This game is officially unplayable. They changed the Scout's code into the Scout Code. It sounds so weird. And then he also has a couple of these lines referencing roads leading to Bandle City.
All roads lead to Bandle City.
Of course, this is talking about the portals, which can be found absolutely everywhere. And in fact, Teemo was one of the first Yordles who was shown hiding these portals. So he would know that every road does in fact lead to Bandle City.
Scout rule number 151. Every Yordle loves a portal.
But that should be really it for Teemo's update. Honestly, I want to mark it as a success simply because before this, Teemo didn't have much lore outside of Legends of Runeterra. And there, he was really just buying mushrooms off of drug dealers. But now, not only did they give him something, but he also got a new, fun side to his personality. That personality might be dementia, but hey, at least Teemo is now fully canon.
I like it. I like it.
I pledge to uphold the Bandle Scout way and serve Yordle kind each and every day.
Teemo used to be gangsta? Yeah. I don't know, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was really, really cool for him to have a backstory of, like, PTSD from war that he doesn't even necessarily remember. I thought that was very cool. I think it's stupid to remove that. It's just removing, like... It gives him character depth, you know? Making him just a demented Yordle who does silly stuff is one thing, but when there's, like, depth behind it, it makes it more cool in my mind. I don't know why they would remove it. And the reasoning, we want to be careful not to offend people with real PTSD is bullshit. Get out of here. Like, that's a trash reason. Hey, in his Omega Squad skin, I mean, yeah, they're keeping the Omega Squad skin, but it's really, really bad reasoning. Why not combine the two? Yeah, exactly. Not a captain anymore as well, yeah. It's just a really bad take. I mean, there's a chance it's not the real reason, they're just lying, and that's a convenient way to put it, but whatever, it is what it is. Is 2024 and any joke or anything is offensive to everybody? True to some extent, but not necessarily. Like, it's very, like, pick and choose, right? I mean, you can say the exact same thing about making fun of him for being demented and having, like, memory loss, or Jinx being schizophrenic. Like, what's the difference here? None whatsoever. They're just choosing one. So my assumption is there's a different reason, and that's just what PR said. Hey, listen, tell them this is why, because it's the easiest one to, like, it's not going to get anybody upset. Joking about it is not okay. Then make it a serious and not a... No. Because they're making fun of him for having dementia. What? Like, dementia is worse than PTSD. Anyway, let's play some games.